Bienvenidos a Fantasy Pill número 183, tu prescripción para sanar todos tus problemas en el mundo de los deportes. Yo soy su host, Sep, aquí a mi lado, mi co-host, mi gran amigo, coach. Un saludo a todos. Muchas gracias por vernos nuevamente. Si le dan un subscribe, un like, comparten todo, nos van a estar ayudando muchísimo. Coach, ¿cómo estás el día de hoy? Super welcome weekend on the books. Cada vez más cerca de los cada vez más cerca del Super Bowl.
La verdad es que Sebastián, estoy muy bien. Un gran saludo a todos. Este fin de semana estuvo, no voy a decir cundido de fútbol americano, porque no estuvo cundido de fútbol americano.
Estuvo 5 días seguidos.
Solamente tuvimos partido acá, partido allá, pero los partidos estuvieron muy buenos. Super
Pero
high
5
level.
días seguidos.
Bueno, sí. De todos los partidos que pronosticamos, creo que el único que fallamos fue el de los Texans.
No,
Porque
te cuento que no.
los dos tomamos a los Chargers en términos de quiénes ganaron, ¿no?
Ah, ok.
Sí, the winners, like outright winners.
Oh, we
Pero,
both picked the Chargers.
claro, vos también.
Yeah, both.
That's the only one that I think we missed. Did we
Bucks.
miss?
Bucks.
¿Vos elegiste Bucks? Yo elegí
Baltimore.
Bucks. Ah, bueno, ahí los dos. Pero en realidad elegimos Bucks. Ese era para cualquiera.
En realidad
Creo
vos
que
estás
estaba...
50% y yo solo le achunté a los Bills.
Bueno, para que veas que la casta siempre gana. Pero
Yep.
este fin de semana tuvimos un poquito de básquet. La verdad es que ganó mi equipo de Fantasy Pill. Estoy feliz. ¿La sacaste? ¿La sacaste?
Sí,
Estaba pronosticado a hacer 350 puntos y la sacaste.
la saqué. Gané por 1.5. Y
No
eso
la
que
puedo creer.
me olvidé de hacer, ya dije el viernes, ya para qué voy a hacer cambio, no sé qué, estoy perdiendo. Me fijé ahora, entré después de 3 días, 6-6 el récord.
Wow. ¿Viste qué pasó con Tiafo?
Sí, vi que estaba medio indispuesto, ¿no? Hizo
Oye,
un Michael Jordan Fever Game o...
ok, I'm sorry. Tiafo fan. I am a Tiafo fan. La sufro con Tiafo. No es como otras cosas que estamos pasando, pero Francis Tiafo en el Australian Open estaba ganando 2-0. Y yo dije va a ganar en 4 sets, porque perdió el tercer set 6-4 y no me esperaba que en el cuarto set se vaya a tiebreak y pierda el tiebreak contra Rinderknech. ¿Sabes quién es Rinderknech?
No tengo idea.
Yo tampoco.
¿Estás buscando su ranking?
No solamente no sé quién es, está 0-2 este año. Este año supuestamente lo que es singles. Y es 3 años mayor que Tiafo todavía. Es de Gas en Francia.
¿En serio?
Sí. Es mayor que él. Entonces dije, tiene que ganar. Pero no, se recuperó en el quinto set y francamente no se me pasó de sorpresa porque la verdad es que estaba un poquito preocupado. Quería que gane. ¿Quiénes son los números 1 y 2 del mundo de tenis, Sebastián?
¿Carlito?
No.
¿No? O sea, Yannick está ahí, sí o sí.
Sí.
Y... Wow, no sé.
Zverev.
Blank. ¿Zverev?
Número 2 del mundo. ¿Qué tal esa? Estaba esperando que
No,
me digas Djokovic, era un trick question. Pero no
no.
sé.
Djokovic está como 7, el otro día lo escuché. Con nuevo coach, ¿no?
Con
Andy
nuevo
Murray.
coach.
Andy Murray, coach de Djokovic. ¿Quién hubiera dicho eso, no?
El que ganó todo supuestamente, o perdió algunas, digamos. Andy Murray tiene 2 Grand Slams históricos, la verdad. Tuvieron muy buenos. No
Y
era
ganó
favorito.
Wimbledon. Fue el primer inglés en ganar Wimbledon después de no sé
Esto
cuántos
sí que,
años.
eso sí que es presión, la verdad. Seamos sinceros. Eso es presión y las demás son huevadas.
Eso es verdad, eso es
Y
verdad.
finalmente, tenemos la camiseta del San Barça puesto. ¿Por qué, Sebastián? ¿Por qué tenemos la camiseta de
No
Barça
sé,
puesta?
estuve jugando harto golf el día de ayer, la verdad es que me he perdido muchas cosas.
Vi que tenías ese handicap. ¿Cómo jugaste?
No, mal, mal. O sea, jugué 85, terminé con un triple bogey en el último hoyo, coach, pero el contacto no está todavía con los palos, te tengo que admitir. No fue el mejor día para tener buen contacto,
¿Y
pero
la pinta?
la
¿La
peleamos.
pinta? ¿Qué tal estaba la
La
pinta?
pinta está buena.
Te,
Vi
te, te,
los pearls
te,
ahí de orientito, verde con blanco.
¿Te
Nice.
viste combinando con tu Ferrell o no?
No, me fui a Raw, America, baby.
Te fuiste de Barcelona. Fuiste a celebrar la victoria de Barcelona, que eso es la
Así
otra
es,
cosa que te decía.
me fui de rojo con azul, de verdad, con short azul, con bermuda azul.
Final de
America,
la,
baby.
de la Supercopa Española. No se jugó en España. ¿Dónde se jugó la Supercopa Española? ¿Sabes?
¿No se jugó en España?
No, se jugó al
Dígame.
sur. Se jugó al sur con 80 grados centígrados.
No lo vamos a poner ahí al Barcelona. Ya lo tenía preparado, ¿ves, coach? Yo soy un buen perdedor. Tenía
Bueno,
preparado.
ves este partido Comienza el partido, ataca el Madrid, hace gol Mbappé en un contragolpe letal que no le pasa la pelota a Vinicius, no se la pasa. Y lo hace el gol de Fine, 1-0. Y yo dije, a la mía, se nos vinieron encima. Porque sabes que el Madrid está en alza y realmente creo que el Madrid cuando pierde control de la pelota pierde todo. Porque el Barça se lo comió vivo al Madrid. Le clava 5 goles seguidos. Y si no
Pero
fuera
en
porque...
cuestión de 30 minutos, ¿no?
Pero era un baile eso. Era un baile. Era, Rafinha es como que estés jugando FIFA, Rafinha, y acaba de subir su nivel de 80 a 95. Porque en lo que es un lapso de un mes, la está rompiendo, la está reventando. Es increíble. Y Chesney hace su debut en una final, y en una final le sacan
Le
roja
sacan roja.
instantáneamente.
Sí. Y ahí viene el gol de Rodrigo, ¿no? Después.
Golazo, qué
Golazo de tiro
golazo
libre.
a la del palo. ¿Lo viste los goles?
Sí, lo vi.
Ok, el gol de Yamal, qué golazo.
Golazo.
El gol de Yamal es como que estés jugando una pichanga ahí con sus amigos en quinto básico.
Y está más o menos en quinto básico, porque no puede estar haciendo esas cosas a los 17 años.
Y viene el jugador profesional, engancha a 2 y le pega suavecito. Lo descoloca al arquero. Hizo un drop shot.
Un crack.
Y creo que lo otro que vale destacar acá del fútbol nada más para decirlo es que el Man United eliminó al
Eso.
Arsenal.
Sí. Con un hombre menos casi por 60 minutos, ¿no?
El único equipo que le puede dar alas al United en su peor momento es el Arsenal.
Tiene
En
que
un
ser
clásico y en una copa. Que te elimine el Manchester United. Que te elimine el Manchester United. Qué dolor de corazón para los hinchas del Arsenal. Para todos los...
Qué dolor de corazón. Pero bueno, vamos a ver qué es lo que pasa con el Manchester City, ¿no, coach?
La verdad es
Y
que
bueno,
vamos a ver.
le decimos a la gente, coach, que estuvimos dando un resumen de casi todo lo que ha pasado el día, este fin de semana, porque tenemos un episodio un poco diferente el día de hoy. Tenemos un invitado especial que coach lo va a estar introduciendo, buen amigo de coach de Green Bay. Ah, no, él nos va a decir, quién es su equipo, a quién ha drafteado, coach, pero nos vamos a meter en todo NFL el día de hoy, coach, y le damos un advisory porque el episodio va a ser en inglés. Vamos a estar haciendo una entrevista en inglés con un gran amigo que lo tenemos en muchas de nuestras ligas, pero no se preocupen, ustedes ahí van a ver en el episodio de YouTube, por aquí abajo más o menos, que dice sí, yo me voy a encargar de poner los subtítulos en español para la gente que no habla inglés.
Manualmente va a poner palabra por palabra.
Palabra por palabra, para
Se
que
va a
se
tomar
entienda todo el contexto.
O sea que, ¿saben qué? Escúchenlo en inglés y lean el subtítulo en español para que vean la eficacia de Sebastián.
Por favor, no corrijan la ortografía, digamos, ¿no? Pero
Vamos a hacer de la
coach,
manera
¿querés
más rápida
hablarnos
posible.
un poquito de quién nos va a acompañar el día de hoy antes que lo pongamos en pantalla?
El día de hoy nos va a acompañar mi primer commissioner de una liga, mi mentor, voy a decir, porque fue el que me enseñó de fantasy fútbol. Y así, de verdad, Jacob me enseñó de fantasy fútbol, me dijo, oye, ¿querés jugar en una liga? Y vos sabés que yo ni lento ni perezoso, competencia en algo y números, la verdad que son dos cosas que me gustan, entonces dije, vamos, ¿qué vamos a hacer? Números, estadísticas. Y yo comencé a ver fútbol americano cuando llegué a Estados Unidos, cuando estaba en la universidad por mi roommate y todo eso. Entonces, cuando ya me metí en fantasy fútbol, tu mundo cambia. Porque comenzás a conocer a los jugadores, comenzás a ver estadísticas. Y cuando te metes más Dynasty y lo que son ligas, te cambia la cabeza. Entonces, Jake Jasedowski, pero se escribe Jasedowski,
Lo traemos.
lo traemos acá de invitarlo. Es un muy buen amigo acá en San Antonio. He is a Wisconsin native. Vamos a comenzar a hablar en inglés en este momento. He is a Packers fan. He can talk a little bit more about being a Packers fan.
Let him do.
Y bueno, we want to welcome Jake Jazeski.
Jake!
A cheesehead.
What's up, fella?
How you doing today, Jake?
Hey, Paso. I'm doing fine. Sorry to your listeners who now have to listen to English and probably also don't like to read subtitles. I don't know.
You don't worry
Yeah.
about it. We're gonna be subtitles.
I'm gonna be translating word for word. That's gonna be my
There
job.
you go. That's your
You
job.
know-
Okay, nice.
Some people learn through Duolingo, other people's or learn through the pod. So it's gonna be fine, Jacob. I
Perfect.
call Jacob because I like to be formal because we had a work ridiculousness where I decided to just from that moment on call him Jacob. And Jake has been I was telling him you're the one who got me into fantasy, the very first league.
His mentor, he
yeah.
said.
He's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
mentor, I said. And the mentor becomes the mentee, and then you start teaching him about how to draft, get some better
Yeah.
players. We have golf together. We have played kickball together. We played football together, where he was playing quarterback.
Nice.
Alex wasn't the best receiver, just so everybody knows.
So I can run routes.
I can see that.
Got open.
I can get open. I cannot catch a football.
Then
I
you should be a DB then.
I'm like CeeDee Lamb. I had drops all the way.
Yeah, stick with the feet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's we played soccer together too, but like realistically, I don't know why I can't catch a football. I think it's the oval shape doesn't delineate in my brain. But we've done a lot of things together over the years. Our families are friends with each other. His kids are become gigantic, and we continue to play fantasy football together. We are in Chiva regular, which is our longest redraft league that we played together, and he's won it a couple of times. You have won it once. I have more second place titles than anybody in this
Well, nobody remembers that.
feed, but nobody remembers that. Nobody cares about that. The show, the league, there's an episode where the commissioner, I forget what the name of the guy is, he
Pete.
loses the finals, and at the end he throws a tantrum that I am here with all.
Oh no, yeah, that's not Pete.
That's not Pete.
That's a redhead.
Yeah, that's the commissioner. Pete is the guy that always wins. Anyways, that is me. That is me in that league. Jacob is more like Pete's wife, I guess, because she wins a little bit more, or not Pete's wife, the lady who always wins, and you are like Taco. So everybody has their saying. But Jacob, Sebastian is going to ask you a couple of questions. You can please kind of like welcoming event into the podcast because that's how we always start.
That's our tradition here with our new guest. But first of all, thank you for joining us, Jake. I don't know how long do we have you for, but we're gonna be recapping some of Super Wildcard Weekend today. With some teams you might be a fan of, you might not be. You're gonna tell us right now. Because the first question is which team are you a fan of in the NFL?
I am a Packer fan. Yeah. So it's an unfortunate weekend for me, but I'll survive, I guess.
Join us in Cancun. To us, Cowboys fan.
You want to know a fun fact?
You've been there a while. You've probably been there since October.
Yeah. We're pretty tan. We're pretty tan by now.
So Sebastian is a very, very we're both Cowboys fans, but I am more of a realistic fan because I know my expectations. I want them to win, but whenever they lose, I'm gonna blame Jerry rather than blaming the fact that we have mediocrity all along in a lot of our levels. But Sebastian was so hopeful last year with the team that we had, with Dak being a top 2 quarterback last year, and he said, "I'm gonna buy tickets and I'm gonna see the Cowboys play the weakest team in the playoffs and win in Jerry's world." And what happened in that game, Jake? What happened in that game?
I don't think the Packers were the only team that showed up in the stadium there. Yeah, I couldn't. By the time I was done cheering after one score, it was the next one, and so it just kept going.
It was 28-0 at half.
It was rough. Yeah, it was rough for you.
It was pretty rough.
It was.
I didn't make it all the way till the end. By the way.
Yeah, I don't think many did. Yeah.
It was a prequel to what was this year because every single time the Cowboys played at home, they lost they got scored on over 30 plus points and
By the way, that Packer team that won, it was the only 7th seed that has won a playoff game.
They were also the youngest team to make the playoffs in a long time, or if ever, the last year.
Yeah, they have the average might be around the 24th, right?
They still have they still have the youngest team this year. Yeah.
So. Yeah. This year the Packers had the inverse happen to what happens to them every single year because every single year their defense gets injured and they never show up in the playoffs. And this time, their defense has been elite, I think, through the whole season. And they were considered one of the favorites based on like top 10 offense, top 10 defense. They're always scoring, even if they don't have names. They had Josh Jacobs as a real superstar because they don't have a wide receiver.
He's really good.
That really sets up altogether. And they got bounced in the first round. And they got bounced by a really good Eagles team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether you like it or not, they have a really good defense.
Yeah,
both were good defenses because even the Packers, they struggled so much on offense, but their defense was kind of holding the fort.
Yeah. Jordan Love was suffering. But anyways, we're gonna get into those games in a little.
Second question for you, Jake.
Yeah,
since we are all fantasy players here, fantasy GMs, we like to pretend that we own a team. So, do you remember when was which year was your first fantasy league, and who did you draft in that draft?
Man, we're going back 23 years ago. Would have been a long time ago, man, when it was first going, and that was very running back driven. Obviously, there wasn't usually wasn't like the point per reception stuff going on. So I want to say it was probably somebody like Marshall Faulk or Clinton Portis or something. Yeah, it's going back a ways.
That's back whenever I got to America that year. My first draft was Marshawn Lynch that year in 2011.
Mine was Matt Forte, 2011 too.
Yeah. That was, oh my goodness. And we drafted in the NFL app.
And then 2012, Jamar Charles, that was my first championship.
Jamar Charles was so good.
So good.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So good. It was the only good thing that the Chiefs had. Jake, I wanna make you a third question, which I usually make because I like the name of your team. I would like for people to know what the name of your team is.
also I've stuck with that for 20 some years, but the focus is kind of on the Hyman part, right? So Buster and the Hyman is the name, and it's Buster and the Hyman. And I'll let everybody focus just a little bit more on the Hyman part, and
it's movie related, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Totally.
The funny movie quote, let's put it that way.
I like it too, and pretty consistent. Consistent, like you said.
I stole that name in my first championship in the Bolivian League because I didn't know what to put. And since then, I've been Bolivian Muncher. So you won the Bolivian League once, Jake. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you.
All right.
You have more than Alex.
Won international. I like it.
Yeah, you won international is the way to say it.
How many leagues you play in, Jake?
Currently, 2 Dynasty, which you guys are also in, and then 2 Redraft and a Guillotine, which I think you guys are also both in the Guillotine.
Yeah. He is a top 3 place team in the last 2 years.
Yeah, first 2 years. Last 2, it's third and then second.
So have you ever seen a more brutal loss than the one I experienced in the Guillotine League?
Which one was?
Do you remember?
You're like, no. I do. Yeah, yours was pretty bad because mine was in the last 2 minutes of the championship this year.
Patrick Mahomes, yours was 3 kneel downs.
Taking the kneels, that was tough. That's ridiculous, actually.
It's because you get
losing by 0.1.
I mean, they could have at least brought the backup in to do it.
Yeah,
they could have. That is true. And the guy who beat you is the guy who would have gotten eliminated that year, that week, had he not knelt down.
Yeah, he won. He won the league.
He won.
And he
won with a Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown in garbage time after the Lions were winning by like 14 points.
Wow,
there's like 2. It wasn't much time left, and Gibbs didn't even he just busted it. And even if the 49er would have tackled him at the 1 yard line, I would have won. He needed the touchdown. Yeah,
it's unreal. Like a level of luckiness. And the worst thing of all, because we had a conversation about this last week or 2 weeks ago. What is worse? To
you guys are lucky in Texas because it's an hour, it's Central Time. But like for example, in Bolivia, where I was at watching the games 2 weeks ago, so it's 2 hours more. So I was asking Alex, whenever you get that adrenaline of like winning the game in the last kick or the last kneel down, Do
Or
you go
or
to
losing.
bed? Yeah. Do you go to bed earlier when you lose like that and you're all mad and pissed off, or when you're excited and get all the adrenaline?
What is
Which one is
easier to go to
better
bed?
for you? Which one is?
I mean, neither one's. I mean, it's always better to be winning, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Both of them, I think I probably stay up.
Yeah, me
I
too.
don't know if I can. Yeah, there's
Every
nothing
single
that.
it can be Tuesday. Whenever I lose because I did a lineup change, I do the math of what I should have done differently, and like it makes me so mad. That's why. Like he
Yeah.
had Sebastian's victory. He was losing by God knows how much, and he had a kicker left. And
Brandon Aubrey.
he had
Brandon
Aubrey,
Aubrey down 9 points against Mike Evans.
and then he won that semifinals. That's gross.
Nice.
That is absolutely disgusting. It's terrible. But
That was
anyways,
nice. That was
Hey,
nice.
well, you guys are still chatting. I'm gonna go turn on my lights. I came out here when it was light outside, and now it looks like I'm like leading you on a ghost tour.
all right.
No worries.
I leave you with this question for Jacob. Is a guess what is true and guess what is false. Okay.
Guess what is true or
Yep.
guess what is false?
Yep.
Okay.
Jacob, like me, is a golfer. He has played in Whistling Straits and broken 80.
Okay.
Or his family is involved with dentistry with the Kentucky Derby horses.
Which is it?
Damn. I'm gonna say your family. It's involved
Sure.
in the Kentucky Derby. There, that's the truth.
That's,
Is it?
that
It
is
is.
true.
It is the truth. Yeah.
His,
Yeah, that's
like
how
his-
hard it is to believe I could break 80 at Whistling Straits.
break 90 or even play it.
Yeah, you probably
No.
should have said broke 100, maybe, and then it
That's
would have been
actually-
more believable.
That would have been an easy thing. No,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
wanted to show that you can break 80 if you practice and tried. No. Anyways, his brother is a horse dentist.
Horse dentist.
Wow.
Yeah. Works
That's
on many
interesting.
like Kentucky horse, many before they even become Kentucky Derby winners, and then when they're still young and whatever, and then many that afterwards. And yeah, it's an interesting job for sure.
You have to go to Bolivia to get your dentist appointment because it's cheaper over there before you have
That's what I
American
do.
insurance. Yeah,
That's what I do.
and over here the horses have better care. Let's put it that way.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Maybe.
Yeah,
So,
it's
guys,
pretty-
why don't we stay along the fantasy line because we were talking before, so we can
playoffs.
see. Oh, you want to go playoffs first? You want to go
Let's-
Super Wildcard Weekend
Let's go Super Wildcard Weekend, and then we'll
Okay.
go to Dynasty. and then,
chronologically? We start with the Chargers at Texans.
that is the one game that well, actually, we picked both.
32-12.
Both we both picked the Chargers to win this game. It was kind of a disappointment. I think this is one of the worst games that Herbert has lost. has
Yeah, I don't
played.
know what happened.
Fun stat about Herbert. He threw for 4 interceptions in this game and only 3 in the regular season.
Yeah, that was completely off. And he's coming from having Quentin Johnson have a monster game in Week 18. And this game, like, completely disappeared for 3 quarters. Completely disappeared. Like,
I mean,
it was that Lat McConkey
It was
show.
the
Like,
Lat McConkey show. 197 yards.
the Texans have a really good run defense, and their safeties are pretty good. Man, they hit nasty. They just do. I watched this game in the Nickelodeon show. It was pretty
Best
good.
place
man.
to watch it. Best place to
Yeah.
watch it. It is.
I had my kids watching it, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is so fun, Papa! Like, I'm learning so much." But they were having fun. And
Joe
we
Mixon
were
was
wa-
the MVP, right?
yeah, he was the MVP. I mean, you've had superstars like Mitch Trubisky win the MVP by like losing the game. I think I don't even remember. But the girls had fun. They had fun watching it. And then Lat McConkey pulls out this, like, he steals this ball and steals a touchdown. That was super awesome.
He's going to be so good.
He is a beast.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, we're going to go over Dynasty, but in
Yeah.
a Dynasty draft, I grabbed Odunze, Brian Thomas, and Lat McConkey. All 3 of them. They're going to be starting in my team next year with Justin Jefferson.
That's
How-
pretty good.
Sexy of a Dynasty team is that? It's
that's ridiculous.
it's
really
awesome. That's the beauty of picks. And we're gonna go over picks in a little bit because I think that's important. But this game, I think it started and ended pretty fast.
Yeah, I saw like, but in the first half, it was kind of like the
It was-
Chargers missed so many opportunities to get ahead, and they just scored 6, and then suddenly the Texans went up at the end of the half, and then they never looked back.
With like 2 minutes to go, too. Like they had the ball with 2 minutes to go, and then it was like interception, bang, bang, 10-6 away.
You guys
get it.
remember the last playoff game the Chargers played in?
It was against the Jaguars, and they
Yep.
were winning by
27-0.
Yeah, and they lost in gross fashion.
So in the last 30 minutes of each of these games, Jaguars and this one, the Chargers have been outscored 63-9 in the last 30 minutes of the 2 games.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
rough.
That's rough. That's pretty rough. But
The only-
Texans win,
Look,
and they
it's
go
one-
to Kansas City next week.
Yeah,
Hey, we were saying the same thing about the Texans this week. It's like the Chargers, Harbaugh, Herbert, blah, blah, blah.
the only thing that is sure with the Texans is that every single playoff game they play at 3:00. That's it. That's the only thing that is a sure thing for the Texans.
Next game, Steelers 14, Ravens 28. What a beating.
But
299 rushing yards for the Ravens.
Yeah,
The
It's 20
offense,
28 enough?
even the score doesn't show. I mean,
Nothing.
show how dominant it was. Right? It was way more dominant than 2 touchdowns. I think.
That Pickens touchdown at the end, I think, kind of like pads the stat.
Yeah.
But the Ravens are an
Do you guys
all-around team.
listen
They
to
are.
Pickens said after a game?
He is mad, man.
Yeah, they asked him if he had any positive things to say about or any positive things to say or the way that the offense was going. He was like, nah.
No.
Nah.
What do you do with the Steelers? Because you can't get a quarterback in draft.
That's the
can't.
question, right? Because Russ and Justin Fields, they're free agents. It's one of them coming back.
I'd take Justin Fields back, but he is so.
Or do they
slow.
move on completely? right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
did they bring Aaron Rodgers for 1 year there?
I don't think they
Ooh.
do that. But I mean, they've got a good enough team to maybe. I mean,
Because Mike Tomlin and Rodgers have always been a little bit linked,
Have they? Why?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, because they respect each other and they always give them when they play, they always giving themselves some looks, and
Rodgers
And-
beat him in the Super Bowl back in 2010.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Also, Rodgers respect McCarthy, and that doesn't tell me that he likes him. So let's put it that way. How about Daniel Jones to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
So many other options than Daniel Jones.
I
What
would
about
say
the other
that-
quarterback? What about the other quarterback that's in Minnesota? Where's he
Yeah.
going to go?
Where's
Right?
he gonna go?
I
He could
think
be a
it's
long-term
I
solution.
because the game tonight, I think it will tell us a lot. I mean, if the Vikings win, he's probably a Viking. If the Vikings lose pretty badly, I don't think he's coming back.
It's hard to pay so many players whenever you have the Vikings and you already played Jefferson. I think that's an issue right there.
And you draft
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and
Yep,
you can have
yep.
you
Got
can
him
have,
for 4 years, right? 3 more
Yep.
years or whatever.
unless it's in a Nickable contract. How about Zach Wilson? No, I'm kidding. I'm just throwing out names right now.
No.
Jets quarterbacks who bounce back. I think you have players like Sam Howell may have like another opportunity. This draft class is not strong enough in quarterback play for them to like draft. And Cam Ward is going to the Titans, and Shedeur Sanders is going to the Giants.
Or hear me out. We get a combo, a package deal of Sanders, and they both come to Dallas.
Shedeur Sanders?
Shedeur and Coach Prime.
And what do we do with that? Who in their right mind is going to pay $60 million for Dak Prescott?
Jerry
That's
Jones.
a tough one.
Yeah, who else is going to take?
Well,
that
maybe
contract?
he's not in his right mind, but Jerry Jones.
Anyways, going back to this game, I think King Henry is playing in the best team of his life. Period.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do everything. He cut his dreads and he looks faster. He is 31 years old and is the only two-time winner of Dynasty Chiva. Like, that man is a stud.
Yeah.
He's an absolute stud. And he might slow down next year, but we've been saying this for
5 years at least.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I see Henry in like fantasy football leagues is that he won. And fun fact about betting, every single DFS play was fading Henry, and they were combining whatever they wanted around it. All running backs, nobody talked about Henry. And that in my head was bettors, like heavy bettors or Vegas, they're grabbing Henry for sure. And Henry was the most surefire thing ever.
Yeah. Damn.
Next
Yeah,
week,
it's a perfect fit for that offense.
Yeah, it's incredible. And they didn't have Zay Flowers. And I told you Isaiah likely was going to do something. He was, I think, the highest target getter, at least for 3 quarters. This was a beating.
Last fun fact of the game, guys. The Steelers lost their last 5. They never had the lead in those games since December 8th. That was their last lead. A lot of questions. Gross.
Yeah.
You know where Mike Tomlin would have a fun time? The Cowboys.
Yeah, he would.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
that would be
would.
nice.
You know, but before all those losses, they were talking about Arthur Smith, who went there as the offensive coordinator, who everybody despised doing over at the Falcons. They were talking about him having a head coaching chance again this next year. I don't know if that's going to be true now.
I don't know.
I thought we should do some digging into this, Sebastian, but the Mike Tomlin is the only or one of the few tenured coaches that does not have a coaching tree, that hires veteran,
they're always veteran
offensive or defensive coaches, but does not have a coaching tree. And that tells you either he is too old school for a creative offensive play calling. He's like the McCarthy of run 4 streaks down the line. That's all he has for plays. Literally.
He's been doing it a while too. He should be able to have somebody. You would think he'd have somebody at this point.
Yeah, somebody that is
young and new ideas, and but no, Arthur Smith it is. Another beating. Bills 31, Broncos 7. Did you guys at some point thought that the Bills might have a problem here when they went down 7-0?
First quarter.
First rookie to rookie touchdown. Bo Nix for Franklin.
So why do you think that is? First ever rookie to rookie touchdown.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
I think I think a team rarely is in the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. I think number one.
That's number one. Number two, rarely does a team get a high draft pick for a superstar rookie quarterback and then compare it with a superstar wide receiver that pans out. That doesn't happen very frequently because usually you go top 10 with a wide receiver that is a stud, or you go top 5 with a quarterback that is a stud. But the fact that the Broncos got this guy in the second, in like the second 10 players, first round still, but like after the top 10, and then Troy Franklin fell into oblivion, and that team doesn't have a real number 2 wide receiver because they have a one Sutton. I think is like everything just falling into place. But the Bills came to play, and I don't think there's much to talk about this game other than Josh Allen is a star. And James Cook is like having the Dalvin Cook career season in a cold environment and winning team. I think that next game.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
It hurts to say that one of these teams is going to be eliminated.
Not only eliminated, there's gonna be a lot of questions for the team being eliminated. It's like it's Lamar. Lamar is gonna win. Just like is he ever gonna get to a championship, to the AFC Championship game, to a Super Bowl? Josh Allen, McDermott, is he gone? Because Harbaugh, Harbaugh, I think he's safe. What do you think, Jake?
I was just gonna say the Bills been losing to Kansas City all the time, right? And that was their ammo, and so if they lose again to another team, it's just going to be that they just can't get it done, right?
I am
You think
hopeful.
McDermott is gone if they lose?
That's
It's so hard.
It's hard to do. I mean, they're so consistent.
Yes.
But I've seen it happen before, right? If they can't make it in the playoffs, eventually they move on, right?
This is the best. This is the best rebuild team in the history of playoffs. They were rebuilding this year. Their wide receiver core is an acquired sixth rounder, Amari Cooper, and then they have all the young guys. Khalil Shakir was shaking and baking last game. Like he was returning like if he was a super stud. And they're playing with like Ty Johnson and what's the name of their Curtis Samuels? Samuels?
Yeah.
Who is a receiving core? That's what I mean. Like they're an incredible rebuild year. So I think that I understand that McDermott is probably in the hot seat and Josh Allen is an incredible player, but the winner of that team for me is going to the Super Bowl. The winner of that game, Bills.
I agree. I hope so.
I think so too.
I don't
the
know.
Only reason why
I hope it's the Ravens.
I hope it's the Ravens too. And the only reason I'd be happy with either or. Like I think that they're due. I can't have another Chiefs run, but you can't bet against the Chiefs. And the problem is that they're going to play against the Houston Texans, and unless the Texans shut us all up, you're going to have a super intense matchup with like two powerhouses, and then you have Chiefs Texans, which should be a beating, right? And
you would think so.
In Arrowhead, outside in the cold, like
I'm a petty person, so I don't like the Bills to win and the Cowboys haven't won since '95. So if the Bills are gonna make fun of me, I'd rather they lose and don't win the championship just yet. So Cowboys, Bills.
Oh my God!
Sure,
I'm a petty person. I'm a petty person. I told you.
The fact that you have to go back to like 1995 says something.
Yeah.
Hey, we beat the Bills twice in a row.
Yeah,
3 times in a row.
Yeah, well, they had lost.
Well, they
lost three straight.
Yeah, they lost 3 straight.
Yeah, it was bad, which is rough.
Well, I'm sorry,
all of them.
I'm sorry, Jake, but chronologically, we have to talk about the Packers 10, Eagles 22.
It was bound.
I want you to know that for me, LaFleur is a top 5 coach in the NFL. For me, LaFleur, Vikings, Rams, and I forget who always
Shanahan,
49ers.
Yeah, and Chiefs. Those are the top 5 for me. Because what LaFleur did with like his team, like every single game, having to put in a quarterback every now and then, having to cycle wide receivers, and not having a true one in theory is magical. And I thought they had a chance. Whenever they scored the touchdown at the 10, like I thought they had a chance. They got the 10.
Same. No, I agree. They had a chance, and I agree with LaFleur. Like I like him as a coach. I think this year I think it was odd though. Like when he realized he had a running back that could just kind of take on so many carries and whatever. I think he turned into a running team, a run first team, which he never was in the past. And it kind of changed the offense a little bit that every game, if you go back to every game this season, man, they would start so slow in the first half, like just terrible slow, especially against good teams. Look, they didn't score a single point in this game in the first half. And then Vikings, Lions, like all the games were like 3 points, 10 points, 0 points. And then they would come on in the second half. But I think it was mostly because all of a sudden he wanted to go run first, which they have a good defense. So I kind of get it. But I think it also threw off how good their passing game was. So we'll see if they do something different.
Is Romeo Doubs your one next year? Because there's no Christian Watson.
Well, like you said, they don't really have a true one, but I don't know if he got another concussion and he looked like he could barely function.
He was barely walking.
He doesn't surprise me if he doesn't come. Like he's one of those dudes that's such an odd personality. Like he may just be like, I'm retiring. Who knows? But
he is the one that has to have a contract before next year. So he's the one person that they can cut. But Jaden Reed, he's got 2 more years there. Dontavius Wicks has 2 more years there. They can draft a wide receiver because Christian Watson is gonna take a 1-year hiatus, and they're probably gonna give him a shot. Because I don't like how they use Christian Watson, but he has
Spreads the field.
he has a different body type. Like he can be the guy. So hopefully he comes back stronger. But we'll see. Honestly,
Jake, let me ask you about Jordan Love because I love Love. I think that he's a really good quarterback that could be elite in a couple of years. But sometimes, and this season, he would rather take the big shot than just the 6-yard complete, and that I saw that yesterday. I don't know what are your thoughts on that. If you saw the same thing that I see with Jordan Love, maybe he needs to make those like little passes, short passes, and I don't know, move the ball.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. I think if you look at him last year, especially when he was in the playoffs tearing apart the Cowboys, he would take those intermediate shots all the time and let his players make the plays, right? And he's for some reasons getting a little trigger happy, and if he breaks the pocket, he's almost always looking deep, right?
Yes.
And even he's not even taking some of the early stuff, right, like he should. So like I said, I think between him and LaFleur, it's probably a little bit of an off-season check and balance on what they're doing for sure.
Yeah, I agree. He should,
because I think he's got an elite arm. He can make some crazy passes. It's just getting the system better.
I always thought like, go ahead.
It's second year. Like it's honestly his second year.
Exactly.
Taking over
with young receivers still.
Like the vision that LaFleur has to cut Aaron Rodgers after an MVP season and be like, let's go with Love, and then Love showing up 2 playoffs in a row with Love. They haven't skipped a beat. Like, what's the difference between the Packers then and now? What's a cap space on the Packers if they wanted to pay like T. Higgins to come in and be the wide receiver 1? Whoa. Think about it that way.
Yeah, like,
Imagine T on one side and having Jaden Reed playing your slot and having Dontavius Wicks not have anybody guarding him on the outside. That team is going to be nasty. And then they have a defense that they have. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because this is the best defense since before Rodgers, I think. Because Rodgers was carrying that team all of those years, and then now it's a big, better defense than the offense for the first time in I don't know how many years.
I think we should go into this heartbreak of the Bucs defense because something I want to talk about is like the coaching carousel that's going to happen because
Commies 23, Bucs 20. What a win for Commies. What a win for Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels said, I am the rookie of the year now. I am rookie of the year now.
Yeah, he is.
I'm the captain now meme. Because my goodness. And Terry McLaurin must be saying,
that's what I was going to say.
That poor guy. He went so many years without a quarterback, like just in middling world, and now he's the beast that he's always been,
I mean, I was seeing the list of quarterbacks he was playing with, like Chase Keenum and Carson Wentz.
Watching Carson Wentz in week 18, watching Sam Howell week 16 without it seemed like he didn't know the playbook, makes you appreciate how good this guy is. Like seriously, and I didn't even think about that.
I just want to get this out of my chest because if Snyder will keep being the president of this team, that Doink would have gone out, not in. So Commanders, they switch presidents, new GM, new head coach. What?
Yeah.
A new GM and a new
that was a karma bounce.
Yeah.
Watching that coach be as excited and passionate about his team.
What was that coach before last year? Coach?
I don't know, but I thought that they kept that they kept the coach instead of promoting this defensive coach to coach, and then we lost another year.
He was in the Cowboys. Okay, that hurts.
Anyways, this team came to play. This team went to Tampa, and they snatched that win after a Baker miscued fumble.
Heartbreaking.
I was going to think about that one for a while.
And look, I really like Mike Evans. I really like the combo of Mike Evans and Baker, and I don't think they're bringing back Godwin next year. I think it's going to be
with McMillan there.
It's too cheap. You got to pay your players. Baker's contract probably makes Baker a top 5 quarterback in the NFL because his contract is cheap compared to the other guys. It's pretty insane.
And
So-
Godwin was having a career season before he got injured this year, so I don't think he's taking a pay cut.
No, he's not. But it's the injury luck, the injury bug is not very good. Like that doesn't help at all.
But good for the commies. They were 19 years without a playoff win, so now it's
Wow.
just the Raiders and the Dolphins that 22 and 23 years without a playoff win.
Just a fun fact: going into Baker Mayfield, he is the 18th highest quarterback paid in the NFL.
40, 45?
18. He gets paid $33 million a year.
33.
Wow.
$33 million a year. We paid twice as much for Dak Prescott.
I was gonna say everybody's in the 50s now just by default.
Yeah, by
You
default.
want to know who's in the 50s? I'm going to read you 5 names right now: Burrow, Love, Lawrence, Tua, Goff,
Damn.
Herbie, Jackson, Hurts. Jackson Hurts get paid less money than that guy, than everybody else I named. And I didn't even name Dak, who's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
So
Quick question for you, Jake. How much do the Niners pay Brock Purdy?
yeah, I
this
was
year?
gonna ask you.
Oh, I actually just saw it the other day. It's like 850,000 or something.
And he bought Toyota Tacoma, Tundras and Sequoias for everybody. For all
No,
of us.
that's a deal. That's a deal. That's a sponsorship, something like that.
Well,
He didn't buy them out of pocket.
That poor guy
Jake-
went broke right there.
Yeah.
Jake, for our fantasy football season, I didn't get a Tacoma or a Tundra or a Sequoia for a gift. I would have been your offensive man. So I don't know what we're doing here. But what do you think they're paying? What's a fair
To pay him,
pay of Brock Purdy?
like I said, almost by default, they're getting close to 50. He's probably like maybe I don't know if he's a 50 guy though. Like I don't know. Can they give him like a Burrow or a Love contract?
Burrow-
He might get 50. He might get 50. I think
he has to get
50.
I think he has to get 55.5. He has to get more than
Okay.
like Burrow and all these guys.
Yeah, I think he needs. I think he was gonna.
You think he's
demand
going to get more than
Tua.
Burrow?
I think
Is
that
Tua 55?
53, I think.
no, Tua is
Okay.
53-1.
Yeah.
I thought
Just so
they
he can be-
overpaid him, but
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
after watching him play without Tua, I think he's underpaid because my goodness, it was bad. Like they had to
Oh, yeah.
reinvent that offense.
it was interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, at least 50, but you're right. It'll probably be closer to 55 to kind of
Yep.
once that market was reset. So,
He said that he doesn't care about money, so we'll see if he takes a hometown discount for the Niners. But
I'm telling
We'll
you,
see.
like
I don't know, man. When you're young, you got to take the money.
yes,
I think.
and when you're being paid less than 1 million, so you're probably the 45th highest paid QE this year, and then you
I
already
could tell
made
you-
it into
yeah.
the Super Bowl.
I could tell you his agent isn't gonna say that he's doesn't care about money.
For
Look,
sure. So before we
I-
move on to fantasy, Jake, I chose the Rams minus. No, yeah. Alex chose the Vikings -2.5. I'm going with the Rams +2.5. What you're taking this game?
Especially because it's a neutral site, I'm gonna go Vikings.
Vikings?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
the Vikings are going to win. The
think
Vikings are a
so.
more complete team.
I think
I
so.
love Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua is the one that I
Puka
would
Nacua
trade
is so
everything
good.
for. He's
So
freaking
good.
incredible.
He's always open. Always.
Brock Purdy this year was the 86th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. 86.
6?
86. Dorian Thompson Robinson gets paid more money than him.
Damn.
Clayton Tune gets paid more money than him.
I was
all
gonna say
three-
there's probably barely that many quarterbacks in the whole league.
Easton Stick gets paid twice as much as him.
No,
Carson
yeah.
Wentz. Yeah, this is
Ridiculous.
absolutely
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah, that's a big list, coach. Coach, let's move to our fantasy talk. You wanted to talk about some dynasty. You wanted to make Jake some questions because he has a few
Ye-
teams in there.
So as a premise, we play 2 fantasy leagues. One is has matured into the fourth year. Fourth year? Yeah, fourth
Mhm.
year. It's
Going into the
finished-
fifth, right?
going into the fifth. And it's a league that we started completely new. Like we have a team in mind where I tried to tank 3 years ago, and my team flourished into youth right now. And I have the Bolivian Muncher Lions because I have all the Lions. This year, I tried to buy a champion from this guy right here, and I purchased Cooper Kupp. I purchased Aaron Jones. I forget who else, like Evan Ingram never played,
Stud.
and Lamar Jackson.
Stud.
And I gave away Jameson Williams, which hurts my soul because I think JMO has the highest ceiling into next year in that team because he's been growing every year. He's a big boy. Like, he's been running. He is great. But I had to deviate from my Lions, and we made a trade because Sebastian has done the inverse of what I did. He bought players last year, and I don't know if you know this, Jake, but he would have won the championship had I not beat him in the
quarterfinals.
If I don't beat him in the quarterfinals, he takes it all, and I beat him by 9 points.
Yeah. Okay.
And there this year, he was with 1 win with a stud team because everybody got injured because
win
kills you. Age kills you. And for a premise, because we're going to talk fairly brief, probably the next 10 minutes on your dynasty teams, because you have a Chiva dynasty that, in my opinion, I told you at the beginning, you traded too fast all your picks, but we didn't know. And now you have cycled your whole team around, and you're rebuilding with like young talent because your quarterbacks are Bryce Young, who looks good, who suddenly looks good. Like, he looks great.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He looks promising at least.
And Jordan Love, who was a trade that we made, if you don't remember this.
Like one of the first years, yeah.
I got Aaron Rodgers. I got Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is still on my team. Aaron Rodgers is in this guy's team. And then you got Jordan Love and Kirk Cousins. And now Jordan Love is first on my team. Oh, my God. Craziness. But anyways. I'll let you go over your teams. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your strategy in Chiva Dynasty? How do you see picks right now in that team? And then talk about Fantasy Pill, which is a new league, completely revamped, and you're resetting from zero. Not only are you resetting from zero,
14-team league.
14-team league. You traded a bunch of assets, Brock Bowers being heartbreak for me. But your team is set, I think, to be like a top 5 team next year. And you have a shot because it's 14 teams and you have depth.
Yeah.
What do you think about Dynasty?
I love the dynasty concept ever since we started it, right? I mean, that's been awesome. Just the concept of being that GM, right? And looking at rookies. So that's been fun. And every year has been a learning year. Like you said, Alex, I think early on I was easy to pass on my draft picks and try to take somebody, and not the best moves in some cases. I took some people I thought maybe were good and they weren't. But anyways, so now I'm where I'm at, and like you said, I'm kind of resetting, right? So I've made some trades, I've got some picks this next year, but unfortunately they're kind of back into the first round, so not fantastic. I'm actually looking more forward to 2026 draft, to be honest. There's a lot of running backs in this draft, but man, I think 2026 may be stacked with wide receivers and all kinds of fun stuff. So
this, in my opinion, Jake, what you said is very true. Running backs have a shorter shelf life. Sebastian, you have a couple of later picks this year. For me, this is a draft. No, but if you were to go running back, the idea is get a Bucky Irving in the 3rd and then trade him for a second. Trade him for a second and a 3rd and start building assets so you can build your rebuild, because that's how this is a stock market. That's how you trade. You gotta get assets, and sometimes it'll pay off. My favorite trade that Jake has made ever is one where he sent Trevor Lawrence for Bryce Young and 2 firsts. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you sent Lawrence, and then you got Bryce Young and 2 firsts?
Yeah. After it was kind of towards, was it at the end of last season or I forget? Yeah,
that was like towards the end of last season, whenever Bryce's draft capital was not very good.
Yeah,
and Trevor Lawrence was like halfway through the season. He was like the next big thing.
Yep.
My least favorite draft. Well, I'm not gonna say that Brock Bowers. You know which one is your least favorite one? Because I have one.
Was it when I gave up London? I don't know.
No, it's your very first trade.
Oh, geez, that was terrible. That's one of the ones that they said was terrible. It was just to the same. It was also to the same league player. When I traded a first round pick for I can't remember his name because he's so terrible.
Laviska Shenault.
No, Laviska Shenault. The previous season, Laviska Shenault looked like a breakout player to me, and this is my first year in Dynasty. So yeah, all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get ahead of it, and I'm gonna trade for him. And yeah, and obviously I didn't realize how valuable certain things were at that time. It was rough. I still bled. I bled for a couple of years on that.
It happens because you know that at the beginning of the year, I think, or no, at the beginning of last year, I was offered a first and a second for Jerry Jeudy, and I was like, no, there's no way. Especially no, that I think I got offered one first and one second when Russ got there, and I was like, no, there's no way. Russ is gonna like Judy's stock. It's gonna go.
He's gonna unlock Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, it's like no, there's no way. But I didn't take that trade, even though I'm happy with what happened with Jeudy at the end of last year. So I'm hopeful, but I don't think I'm getting offered a first and a second anymore.
And these are risks that you take. Obviously, Sebastian, you wouldn't have been in a race for the Fantasy Pill Dynasty, but in the draft that we had, 14-team league, very deep league. Do you know Jake drafted JJ McCarthy this year? He drafted him for the future. He thought he was gonna start because who gave a dime for Sam Darnold? But Sam Darnold was a stud. He was a stud all year. Do you know who you drafted? You know what round Sam Darnold was drafted this year in a 14-man league?
You asking me or? I think I looked this up because I was kind of taking a look at our whole draft. I think it was like way late, like 15th or
round
like
15 that. On the money, Jake. This hurts your soul.
You know who you drafted? You know, funny story about that, Jake. It's that I told Alex, I don't know what I was. I don't know if I was flying or something, and I told him, whoever is left between Jacoby Brissett and Sam Darnold, just pick that one. And then nice. Jacoby Brissett got selected like 2 picks before Sam Darnold.
No. Because you said Sam Darnold or Jacoby Brissett, I picked Sam Darnold first. Jacoby Brissett got picked like a couple picks after. Do you know who you picked in round 15, Jake, instead of Sam Darnold?
Jeez. Probably somebody I dropped off my team already. I don't know.
No, he's probably still there. He's a Giant.
He's a Giant? Wayndale? No, that was way earlier. I picked Wayne. Or did I pick Wayndale?
Wendell Robinson, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right before him, you had 2 excellent running back picks in rounds 14 and 13. For our new dynasty players, this is where you get value. Round 14 and round 13. You drafted 2 rookies.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving is one of them, and the other one is Tyron Tracy.
Yeah, those are. I can't believe I got them back to back that late. Now that you bring that up, like
that's really
Bucky Irving is a beast. Yeah,
that's the beauty of fantasy, and that's why like last year you went like a 4 running back strategy that in the second round that I remember did not pay off like you wanted to, but it would have if you gave him a little bit more value. Because I'll give you an example. I have Roschon Johnson in the league, and I am hopeful that he's going to be a starting running back midway into next season. He's going to be the RB1 in that team because they're not going to pay DeAndre Swift any more money because he had to prove it. He's just not he's not it. He's expensive.
Yeah.
Very nice.
DeAndre Swift.
You want redraft?
Redraft?
I don't know.
Yeah, let's do that. Do you have 10 more minutes for us, Jake?
So sure, let's go.
Best picks per round.
Yep.
And last episode we were talking about the busts in every round for the first 5 rounds based on ADP from Fantasy Pros.
Okay.
It varied a little bit because our league is very running back heavy, but this is PPR and this is where people are at. So take it 12 at a time. So
in the first round, we're gonna select which one was for us the best pick in that round. We started Fantasy Pros is CMC, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, St. Brown, Chase, Jefferson, Barkley, AJ Brown, JT, and Garrett Wilson.
I think that drafting in the mid was money this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially or like the 7th, 8th, whenever you're like, okay, whoever is left between all of those receivers, I'll grab him.
So this is PPR. Jake, who's your take in the top 12?
Like for best pick or worst?
Best pick, league winning.
League winning probably. It's got to be Chase, right?
Chase
has to be Chase. He was healthy all year.
Yeah, it's got to be Chase.
I would say Saquon Barkley.
Even though Barkley is really good.
running backs were hard to come up, but like
That's
I think
true.
Chase was so
But I
good.
think it's Chase.
Who's your bust here? Only one. 12 team.
I mean, it's
okay.
CMC just for pure injury, right? Like, I mean, he was taking number one. I mean, it shows it, right? His average is 1. Like, that's heartbreak for anybody who took him.
And you didn't get the backup.
3 leagues. Do you know that I got second place in the league that I selected CMC?
Really?
And I lost in the last drive of the Lions. And what was the last game? No, it was the Lions against that Monday night game. 49ers? Yeah, against 49ers. So my opponent had the Lions defense, and they got a sack and an interception in the last 2 minutes, and that's how I lost.
Dude, did you know that
1.5 points?
Jake, I was looking at bets. Somebody bet $40,000. Giants outright win.
Oh, I think I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Gross. Second round, best pick for the second round.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka, Kyren Williams, Marvin Harrison, Travis Etienne, Derrick Henry, Isaiah Pacheco, Devontae Adams, Josh Allen, Travis Kelce, Drake London, Chris Olave. Oof, a lot of busts here.
Man, a lot of busts, but a lot of there's some. It's a tough one for me. I think top pick. I'm between. You know what? I got to go Derrick Henry. Like,
yeah,
Puka's great, but he had his injury. He was out for such an amount of time. I'd have to go with Henry on that one. Yeah,
Derrick Henry started slow, and if you remember, people were saying, "Hey, he's not going to catch any. Is he going to be that good? He's just going to be a touchdown guy, just 10 points per game." But he was good all season, and you got to count him in.
Yeah, Gibbs was good too, and
Gibbs is really good too.
Jahmyr Gibbs and Puka Nacua, they won you championships. Henry got you there, and if you had a good team, he probably won you championships. And Josh Allen,
I'm going Henry here too.
Josh Allen would have been my pick, believe it or not. It would have been my pick, but in the semifinals, he did nothing. And he
question, because last episode with Coach, we were arguing a little bit of Isaiah Pacheco because he was calling Isaiah Pacheco a bust. I told him that he got injured and he was playing good before he got injured, but whenever he came back, he told me that he didn't play well and he didn't get you to the playoff. And if you played him the playoff, he lost your matchup, which I agree. What are your thoughts about Isaiah Pacheco? It's more of a bust.
Yeah, I like him. I like how he runs hard as a just NFL guy, but I think as a fantasy guy, I just don't think. I think he's another one of those kind of plug and play Kansas City guys. He might be there for a while, but he's not going to be. I don't think he's ever going to be a top guy.
And they never paid running backs, right?
No. Like I said, it's just they plug and play, right? It works.
Yeah. You draft CMC and you get your backup, you survive. You drafted Isaiah Pacheco and you got Kareem Hunt. You didn't start him for a couple of weeks, and then he paid off, and then he died, and then Pacheco came back, and everybody was dead. And you had to play with Kareem Hunt because you didn't have a shot with anybody else. That's why I thought he was a bust.
Third round, Achane, Josh Jacobs, Nico Collins, Patrick Mahomes, James Cook, Mike Evans, Jalen Hurts, Rashad White, Sam Laporta, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Michael Pittman.
This is like the second round. This should be the second round. This shouldn't be the third round.
Yeah, this is an interesting deal.
Yeah.
There are about 6 top 15 players next season in this group. Achane, Jacobs, Nico Collins, James Cook.
I like Nico, but he got injured, so he didn't play a few games.
I was going to say, Cook had all the touchdowns this year.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs was insane in
Josh
the final,
and Achane too.
Yeah.
But Jacobs gave you championships.
I'm gonna go with Jacobs just because I had him in 2 leagues and he got me into the playoffs. So for me, it's gonna be Josh Jacobs.
I'm taking Jacobs too. I mean, if it wasn't Jacobs for me, it would have been Achane maybe.
Maybe.
And we were very anti Achane at the beginning.
Yes, a lot.
How does this draft
very
look?
skeptical.
Chase,
I was torn.
Ja'Marr Chase, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. 1, 2, 3 so far.
That's not bad at all.
So good.
Let's move to the 4th round then. Cooper Kupp, Lamar Jackson, Joe Mixon, Kamara, Metcalf, Kenneth Walker, Jaden Waddle, Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Davante Smith, Mark Andrews, Drake McBride. Wow. This is a tough one, I think. I don't
Yeah,
like any-
I'm torn between probably Lamar and McBride.
McBride?
I'm going McBride here.
Yeah,
Even though
McBride
they
he was okay all season. I would take Kamara, but we have 2 running backs right now in the top 3 picks.
at some point, though, like at the beginning of the season, Joe Mixon was like the MVP in fantasy.
He stopped down.
yeah.
He stopped in the playoffs. You go Chase, Henry, Jacobs. Do you take a quarterback in the 4th, or do you see value in McBride and you pick him?
Who were your first picks?
Chase, Henry, Jacobs.
I'm always one to I guess if Lamar was there, I might take him.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm one to pass on quarterbacks and just leave it till the late rounds.
Only if Lamar is there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take McBride right now, and I'm going to see which quarterback falls to me in the later rounds.
I'm gonna take Lamar in this round because he was really good.
Yeah, I think. I mean, same. Like I said, I'd probably take Lamar if he was here. So
49.
One more round before we have 4 minutes before.
Let's do 2 more
Vikings
rounds.
Rams. Two more. 5th round. Malik Neighbors, Stroud, Kincaid, James Conner, George Kittle, Amari Cooper, Anthony Richardson, Aaron Jones, George Pickens, DeAndre Swift, Joe Burrow, and David Montgomery.
oh, here's your quarterback, Alex.
No, I traded away James. See, it's his quarterback, not my quarterback. I have Lamar
it's my
right now.
quarterback.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
finished pretty
you
good.
chose Lamar? Okay. I was gonna say then. Yeah. I mean, it has Joe Burrow was a beast, right? It's
Joe
either him or
Burrow was a
Neighbors, I think.
beast.
Right?
I think
agree.
that if Neighbors falls to me in the 5th, I'd pick Neighbors.
Even though,
But-
that's where I picked Neighbors in La Chiva, and I mean, I went like wide receiver, no wide receiver to Malik Neighbors. Oh, I went CD, and then I didn't pick any receivers to Neighbors in the 5th.
I picked Burrow in Guillotine, and he gave me a dud, and I was eliminated week 1 for a second year in a row. So I'm not taking Joe Burrow in the 5th. I am taking Malik Neighbors.
I'm taking Malik Neighbors too, but I'm gonna give an honorary mention to James Conner, who might be one of the most consistent running backs in fantasy in the last years.
James Conner beat me in Chiva Dynasty. He got me out. He got me eliminated.
This was the year of the aging running backs, man. They all kept going.
They all
Right?
kept
Or
going.
guys on, even like Barkley and Jacobs aren't that old, I guess, but they're on their like second contracts and like deep, they've already played 5-6 seasons because they were so young when they came
It's
out.
Ozempic, Jake. Ozempic makes him younger,
I
fitter.
think so, yeah.
Keeps your contract.
The 5th round, last round that we're gonna make. T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Cal Pitts, Tank Dell, Evan Ingram, Samir White, Ramondre Stevenson, Rashid Rice, wow, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Najee Harris, and Jordan Love.
This is kind of a rough round.
Wow, and look the next pick, the 73rd, it's Terry McLaurin, which
Yeah, you'd obviously pick him.
yeah,
He's the best over this round, I think. So
Well,
I don't know. T kind of. I don't know that he started well, but he came on late.
he didn't
My
start.
part-
That's why.
My problem is that he didn't deserve a contract and he didn't get one. So if his nail hurt, then he stopped playing. I'm gonna give this to Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers for me was good all around.
I'm
Like-
gonna go with T.
Top 20
Even though he
wide
didn't play
receiver,
like 3-4 games,
week in, week out.
but he got 40 points in your fantasy
yeah.
finals.
I was gonna say guillotine. He almost pulled me to the championship.
Oh,
But,
did he?
T, yeah, I picked him up the week or two before. Yeah, he was the only guy that I didn't get blocked on
So good.
because I had no money left. I had no
Like
money
zero
to-
fab?
Zero fab. So I was getting, as I should have been. I was getting blocked on every possible good player. But yeah.
Guillotine is so fun.
Mhm.
I wouldn't know because I get eliminated in week 1, but
Yeah,
it's so fun to manage the team.
Twice in a row in
Yeah.
2
Jake-
guillotine leagues.
I have 2 final questions for you. The first is Dynasty.
Mhm.
Who is your pick, first, second, or third round that you think is a must-have for you and your team? And you have later first-round picks, you have second-round picks, you have third-round picks. But who do you
You're
want?
talking so this upcoming
rookie draft dynasty without knowing where the players are at. Who do you want?
Oh, without knowing where the players are at and if I had a best pick kind of thing.
Best, like, do you want a running back? Do you want a wide receiver? Do you want a tight end? Do you want a?
I mean, I'm running back. I am running back needy in Chiva a little bit more than I am wide receiver, but I mean, I can use anybody at this point. Like I said, I'm rebuilding. In this year's draft, I mean, Genti looks like a beast, right? Playoffs, he looked a little bit, not as much, but I don't know. And then, the quarterbacks, Cam, I like Cam. If I'm talking quarterbacks, I like Cam over Shedeur, I think.
Yeah.
Personally. And then, but there's man, you could go almost 8 running backs deep, I think, in the first 2 rounds of the draft this year.
There's an Ohio State running back who is in the
2 of them.
Yeah, but there's one who's like built like a bowling ball. Like, he is.
Yeah. It's not Travion's the lighter guy. It's
the other guy.
Like Judkins, I think.
Judkins. Yeah, they don't use him. Imagine they unlock that guy in the Steelers. He would be so good, especially with like expiring contracts there.
Yeah. Or even maybe like Chargers or something. Yeah.
Or like Chargers. Cowboys need a running back.
Yeah. So those guys. I like the tight end too from Penn State.
Yeah, me. I like
he's a beast.
I like him too.
I don't know.
Falls to me in a second.
He might get picked in the NFL first round if he tests well, I think.
What do you think about the wide receiver cornerback Heisman Trophy winner? Is he playing cornerback or is he playing wide receiver?
I don't know. I don't know. I kind of hope that he plays wide receiver. I guess we'll know as soon as somebody drafts him when they say what he'll be like. They'll say wide receiver, or I'll be interested in what they say, or if
Remember, Chiva Dynasty has defensive players. And
can you imagine playing him as a defensive player?
Yeah.
If they list him like that,
he needs dual eligibility then.
Yeah, if he's a defensive back, what pick does he go in Chiva Dynasty?
Oh, jeez, man! If they list him at both corner and wide receiver in Chiva,
102 tops,
he might be the first. He might be the first wide receiver taken. Yeah. Yeah, he might be the first wide receiver taken because otherwise you got that that guy from Arizona or Arizona State. McMillan. He's probably one of the top, if not the top. So he's right now probably projected as number 1.
But if you can put him in your corner,
you got. He has to be the first. He has to be the first guy taken. Now, how long does that last? They'd have to. If he's not playing after the first season, they're going to move him to just wide receiver the next season, and you hope that he did well enough that it matters, right? But
you blew up your pick right there. And then going to redraft. Do you have give me 3 players that you think I'm going to overdraft this year? Like for me, this year is Amir White bust. Jahan Dotson last year bust. But who are players that you want to get?
Oh man, that I want on my team.
That you want on your team. 3 players that you're gonna go and overdraft because KP had James Conner all over the place, and he got him all over the place, and he won. He was successful this year because of James Conner. Well, that and other reasons.
I think Puka, Gibbs.
I think we were talking about this. Those 2 players, I think, are top 6 picks next year. Top 7 picks.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you're not going to get them both on the same team, right? But those would be, some top guys that I think are just going to keep dominating because some of these guys are going to start to fall off. You never know. Breece Hall was picked high, and he kind of did nothing. And what's he going to do next year? That team doesn't look any better, right? So, so he's going to fall off. Garrett Wilson, same way, right? You don't know what's going on with any of those guys. I think like you said, do people choose Derrick Henry high and Saquon high, and do they finally fall off? I think Saquon will still keep going another season or 2 really well. Henry might be, like you said, I think it's been said a long time. It's his year to fall off, but he just never does.
Never happens.
But yeah, I mean, for me, it's Puka and Gibbs are kind of top on my list for redraft, and Nico Collins. Yeah, I like Nico.
Yeah. Nico's getting a lot of hype in the media right now. I forgot to ask you this, and there was a Mike McCarthy question because Mike McCarthy was announced as the no longer Cowboys coach starting fiscal year 25-26. Sebastian has
I'll
been
take
like
win.
he did the greatest reverse salt move to get
Reverse jinx.
reverse jinx to get him kicked out of the Cowboys.
Okay, it took a while though, because I called
he-
it 2 months ago that he was gonna continue as the Cowboys.
You were a McCarthy client as a Packer.
Yeah.
Tell
yeah.
me, what do you think? Where do you think he ends up?
I mean, I think he'll get one more shot. He's got a Super Bowl under his belt, right?
And he had
Okay.
three seasons in a row, 12-5 with the Cowboys. So
He's got an overall winning record with the Cowboys. And he had obviously an overall winning record with the Packers. Yeah, and he's got, like you said before, he actually has a little bit of a coaching tree. I forget, which guys are there, but he's got a little bit of a coaching tree.
There are 4 teams that are open: Jaguars, Saints, Jets.
I think it's the Saints for me.
Bears.
Raiders.
Bears asked to interview him. I don't see him as a Raider necessarily. Saints are probably a good choice.
Yeah.
I would think it's funny if the Bears hired him. Maybe they think, he was able to win for so many years and beat them for so many years that they can use him to win. I don't know.
And he's a Pennsylvania guy. If Pennsylvania guy, I don't think he's coming to Florida. So Jacksonville.
Yeah. I don't think he could go to the Jets because he was a Pennsylvania guy. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I don't think the Jets want him.
If he's a Raider or if he's a Saint, he's gonna look slimmer in black. So maybe that's why he goes there. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't see him as Jag seems like the longest shot to me for some reason. I don't know why. He just doesn't seem like somebody that guy would hire, that Khan. But I mean, I could see the Raiders hiring him. They're kind of old school in their thoughts still. And I could see that. So, but I would say maybe Saints, Raiders, Bears would be my, if I went for second, third of choices there.
And now the Cowboys don't have a coach. Who's coming to the Cowboys?
Nobody wants to be controlled by Jerry, do they? Not a good coach.
I agree. Not a good coach, not a young coach.
Maybe you luck out and maybe you do luck out and get somebody that's just trying to get a shot, right? And nobody else wants to take them. I don't know. And you get lucky and find the next, needle in a haystack. I don't know.
We're trading for Mike Tomlin.
I said Kellen Moore because he is homegrown.
No, come on. Eagles had 4 turnovers yesterday, and they only scored 22 points. Come on.
I'm not saying it's a good pick. I'm not saying it's a pick I want. I'm saying who I think they're going to get.
Does he even want to go back there? Does he even want to go back after being offensive coordinator?
He got kicked out too.
That's what I'm saying. So
like McCarthy kicked him out.
Yeah. Does he want to go back to that? Right? I don't know. Probably not.
Steve Sarkisian.
After they got destroyed at home, he already lost in Jerry's world. Why would you want to get somebody who? Well, maybe because he likes to get scored on like 30+ points at home. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. But Jake, thank you for joining us today.
It was fun, guys.
Starting. You said Vikings, right?
I said Vikings.
Me against you guys. Well, we should do this again. Jake, thank you for coming in.
Let's do it again. So we can go over the picks. We should invite a bunch.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Talk about the draft at least for the first 10 rounds, and just argue.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Let's see what the Falcons do again.
Enjoy the game, guys. Thanks everybody for watching. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Later.